one day I went out on my business trips. So on my business trips, they called me that my wife has sent a man into our own room. So I rushed fast, then went to the house. So when I went to the house, I met the man and my woman naked on our own bed. I took my cutlass and cut the two of them.
You butchered
them? I butchered them.
Did they die?
No, they didn't die. So on the next day, I was being arrested and being sent to court.
This is how Nanaya, not his real name, got into prison. That is how he got to know there were a lot of ills associated with Ghana's prison system. He tells Citi News he was compelled to join a group of homosexuals in prison in order to have access to food, money, and also live happily over there. He has now been left with a condition which he regrets.
Well, now, if the sun heated a lot, if the sun heated and I'm walking on the sun, then my anus will just be swelling of water, coming out of water.
He says when people are taken to prisons to reform, inmates rather end up becoming hardened criminals, and many engage in various activities which they do in concert with prison officers.
You are sent there maybe to reform, but that's where you go and learn how to sell drugs, sell tramadol, then alcohol. They start for sachet alcoholic drinks.
So how do you get them?
The prison officers. All the messages that you receive, maybe I'll send you this. I was sending money to some place, and the money hasn't gone. So please kindly refund my. If you are not sharp and you send it, you are sending it to a prisoner. The office there, if the money comes, it's the officers that came in and collect the funds and withdraw the money for them.
He alleges that inmates do not get benefits of donations that are sent to them, as prison officers end up taking them.
You can receive a donation. Maybe the Church of Pentecost have donated these items to so and so and so, but when they go, you will never receive it.
A criminologist who is also a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Jones Opokuwari, corroborates the claims being made by Nanaya.
The information we have, and based on interview with some people who are actually, ex-convicts, they tell you that, look, because of the fact that we have more of these, bad guys all congregating within the prison system, what happens is that when they go, because the reformative process is not that strong, they tend to be an influence, over each other. And sometimes they transmit their bad tendencies to even otherwise more moderate criminals.
He added that some works that they have done also point to collusion between the prison officers and the inmates. In order for stakeholders to be in a position to address this challenge, he wants the government to invest more in prisons and engage in more reformative programs. Dr. Jones Opokuwari is thus called on authorities to have a proper exit plan for prisoners.
I'm thinking that, look, authorities must first, look at the kind of prisons we have and try to invest more in it. If they have to expand, they have to expand. If they have to build new facilities, they have to build new facilities. Because the kind of structures we have and the kind of prisons that our countrymen, those over there are put in, the truth of the matter is that it's not the best.
The authorities at the prisons admit that indeed some fraudulent activities take place at their facility, as some victims have tracked the source of their phone calls to the prisons. The second in command of the Kumasi Central Prisons, ADP Alhaji Osman Tasambedu, has been outlining strategies they are putting in place to address the various concerns being raised.
It is true that people or officers or inmates smuggle phones into the prison service and are able to use it for nefarious activities. As you said, these fraudulent activities. On countless occasions, my office has been inundated with reports that a call came from the prison service, or it came from prison service, all right, but the recipient didn't know that it's from a prisoner. and that prisoner has been due this amount of money he has promised to marry, most of the times it is the women or the ladies who are vulnerable to these activities.
The inmate says after his release, he has been rejected by his family. This is not the first time someone is saying he has been rejected by his family and other loved ones, and that authorities will have to do more in ensuring that persons who are released integrate properly into the society. For Citi News, I'm Edward Upon Marvel, Kumasi Central Prisons.